there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tea Time with Tuskeh. It's Tuesday, the 13th of September, so sit back, relax with a cup of tea, and let's chat. Before we begin all this, a word about what is actually going on, because I've done Tea Time with Tuskeh in the past, and it clearly wasn't this, and I've done daily discussions in the past that were kind of this, but not really. So what we're going to do is we're just going to really quickly explain what this is. So, Tea Time with Tuskeh is essentially, if you've seen it, Azeroth Daily. I'm basically stealing that show. I'm a terrible, terrible person, a terrible thief, but that kind of thing doesn't really exist right now, so let's see what we can do. Let's create a sort of daily news and chat show that runs from Monday to Friday, and barring anything getting in the way, we'll just talk about World of Warcraft. So we'll talk about anything I feel is worth chatting about. So developments in the community, different pieces of news, hotfixes, interesting blue posts. But instead of it just being a typical here is all the news, I'd like to put my spin on it. So I will of course provide my opinion, because apparently that's a thing people want to hear. But I'm also going to try and spin this towards helping you. So I'm going to do my best to have like tips and tricks and just try and teach you a little bit while just relaxing and chatting. So this is going to be a little bit less scripted than normal. In case you didn't know, I pretty much write scripts for all of my videos. This one isn't going to be like that. This series is just going to be me chatting. So hopefully it goes well. So the different sections we will have in the different Tea Time with Tuskeh episodes will be the news, which is pretty much going to be ubiquitous to every episode. It's just going to be things that are happening in the World of Warcraft, the Blizzard, the community, all that stuff in that kind of world. We will have a daily tip every day that I do this that will help you in World of Warcraft in some kind of way, just things that I think will help you out. We will have a lore nerd section, because I love the lore of this game. We'll just discuss the lore of an important character or an event or anything that I feel is interesting. So that'll happen every now and then. We will have what I like to call the Opera House section, where we will just listen to and examine a bit of music from Blizzard Entertainment. The one today is really cool, by the way, so keep an eye out for that. And we will have a Q&A section where I will try and get your questions answered. So that's the plan. This is, of course, very rough and just kind of out there, so if you have any suggestions for how it can be improved, or if you just think that it's terrible and that I should die in a fire, just let me know in the comments. So, today in the news. Well, this is a hell of a way to start. Chris Metzen is leaving Blizzard. He's retiring at the age of 42 after over 20 years of work for the company. So in a post on the 12th of September entitled "A Message from Chris Metzen," he wrote that, and I quote, "I've never been more proud of Blizzard and the quality of its products than I am now. It's remarkable that even after all these years, we can still reach new heights and take the world for an amazing ride. I believe Blizzard's future is brighter than ever." He goes on to say that the reason I use the word retire is because I'm not going to some other company or starting up new projects or anything remotely like that. It's been a long, amazing stretch of years. Now it's time to slow it down. He continues with, "I'll be focusing on the one thing that matters most to me in all of the world. My family. They're the core of my life and the source of my deepest joy and inspiration. In addition to raising our two little ones, we recently welcomed our new baby into the family. Being home with them all, having time and space to really live, to love my wife with all my strength, that's my career now." It really is a heartfelt letter, and you should definitely read it out. It's available on the WoW forums, on Wowhead, on MMO Champion, and of course there will be a link in the description. Basically, anyone that reports on World of Warcraft is talking about this right now. Now, the loud, lovable Metzen has had a hand in almost every Blizzard game that is known and loved today. So he's worked on every Warcraft game all the way back to Orcs and Humans, steadily going from an artist to a creative director. He and designer Bill Roper created the universe for Diablo. He led the design team for the StarCraft series of games. He's the author of the Warcraft novel Of Blood and Honor. He was the creative director for Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne. He was the creative director of Overwatch, and he's had obviously a huge hand in World of Warcraft on loads of different levels, including, of course, voice acting. This is almost a meme at this point. He's done a ton of different characters, from Thrall to Varian Wrynn to Ragnaros to King Leoric to the Marine in StarCraft and StarCraft 2. He's done all kinds of stuff, and he's really the heart and soul of a lot of Blizzard games. Pretty much all of them. I'm going to deeply, deeply miss this guy. I absolutely adore his way of doing things. As a birthday present, a couple of friends of mine sent off a picture of Thrall, who is obviously a badass, to Metzen and asked him to sign it. He signed it to John for the Horde Metzen, and he put about 8 exclamation marks after every single line. That's just his style. He's been a loud and lovable figure in not only the Blizzard scene, but in the gaming scene in general for a long, long time now. He's been working at Blizzard for over 2 decades. So this is going to be a big change for him, and for Blizzard in general. All of that said, it does kind of seem, to me at least, like his work in World of Warcraft has decreased over the course of the last year or two. The themes that he normally tends to stick with, like the power of heroism and single characters leading the charge and gathering allies and just, kicking the bad guys in the teeth, basically, that stuff has kind of faded with Legion. If you've played through it, you'll likely notice that the Legion storyline is a lot darker. There's a lot of killing off characters. Just look at the Broken Shore. 3 of the major characters in the Alliance of the Horde and in general were killed off there. This new theme has really pushed, I would say, Warcraft a little bit more towards Game of Thrones territory, which is, a bit darker, more gritty, maybe not as realistic because it's World of Warcraft, but you get the point. It's very much changed tones, in my opinion, and I've definitely noticed that. It's been a little bit off-putting at times, but now it kind of makes a bit more sense. Metzen has had a huge hand in a lot of things, and now he's kind of stepping back, stepping away. It was likely a process. He didn't just randomly decide, oh, I'm done. Nah, he probably stepped away. It took time, and we saw that in the end of Warlords of Draenor and all of Legion, essentially. Now, in case you couldn't tell, I am a huge fan of Metzen and his work, and although his retirement is well-deserved, I'm going to miss him deeply. Blizzard games are certainly going to change in the future without his hand guiding them. I mean, we've seen that already with Legion. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. Now, there's been a lot of talk about all this, about how Metzen is leaving, but I just want to take a moment here and note that although it seems kind of like a lot of people have been leaving Blizzard, because it always seems like a few months apart, there's always another person who has left Blizzard. If it wasn't Zahim, then it's Ghostcrawler, that was a while ago though, then it's Metzen, things like that. And it could be pretty easy to look at it and just dramatically think, oh, they're rats abandoning a sinking ship, Blizzard is done, it's over. No, I really doubt that. This is probably just a reality of working in the gaming industry. People move on, they change jobs, they retire. This is just what happens. And although, yes, Metzen is leaving Blizzard and it is a shame, there are a huge number of very talented people working at Blizzard now. And even though they've had a fairly high turnover rate, something that I think has been exacerbated by us because Blizzard is at this point basically a celebrity in the eyes of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people following its every step. I mean, you've got websites reporting on the slightest thing that Blizzard does, so this is very much noticeable now because we're paying loads of attention to it. I just want to pause and say there are some great people working in Blizzard, like Law, Ian Hazakostas, Celestalon, Terran Gregory, Arithlia, Onyx, and way more. There are loads of great people working at Blizzard, and I doubt the quality of their products is going to go down or anything like that. We don't know. I doubt it's going to happen because Blizzard has always had this core philosophy. Metzen was very much the face of that, I would say. I mean, he was there at pretty much every BlizzCon just talking and, being the keynote speaker in a lot of ways. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone kind of fills that void and what it means for Blizzard in general. Honestly, we don't know exactly how much of a role he played in Legion. If he played a big role in it, the next expansion might very well be different. However, if he didn't play that much of a role in Legion's construction, we honestly don't know, then maybe we'll see more great expansions. Either way, Blizzard has always had a great core philosophy of quality. So, I'm hopeful. I'm very optimistic that everything is going to basically be fine. So that's the big news for the day. Now it's time for the daily tip. Just a piece of advice for World of Warcraft. So here is a tip for completing world quests. When you use the Flight Master's whistle to take you back to the nearest flight point, the Flight Master's mount that you spawn has to move into contact with you to make you hop on. So what you can actually do is you can run towards where it spawns to lower the time it takes for you to return to the nearest flight point. A small tip, yeah, and it might not seem that useful, but you're going to be using this whistle a lot because world quests is something you're probably going to do every day. So over the course of the expansion, this is going to save you a lot of time. If you're like me, you can also use this tip to just run away from the flight mount as it comes towards you, but that only works for a couple of seconds. Now it's on to the world quest of the day. So this is just going to be a few pieces of advice for world quests that I think you should definitely do for the day. So they've just popped up for the US servers, and the emissary is for High Mountain, so you're going to want to do 4 world quests in High Mountain. I would definitely suggest you take a look at Wanted Sekhan. Even though this is a Warden's world quest, it says so on the map, this will count towards the High Mountain emissary, so get this done. It offers a piece of gear, which has a chance to be an upgrade for you. So give it a shot, make sure you get that one out of the way, it'll be very helpful for you. And of course you want to do the emissary because you have a chance to get a legendary piece of gear or all kinds of other goodies from the chest reward. Another world quest you're definitely going to want to have a look at is in Stormheim. This is the Assault on Herdshal. This offers a piece of gear as well. For me, it is a ring, which again has a chance to be very good for you because of the way gearing works in Legion. So get this one out of the way if you can. Make sure you head over on to Stormheim. You want to fly directly to Cullen's Post and then just head down into Herdshal. Use one of the grappling hook launchers to send you over the wall, and then get to work murdering Vrykul and destroying their harpoon launchers. So that's definitely one you want to do. And finally, you're going to want to do all of the world quests that have popped up in Suramar. Now, these will offer Nightfallen reputation rewards, which is very important because 2 of the mythics for Suramar, the Archway and the Court of Stars, both of these are gated by quests that you have to do, and to get to those quests, you have to be a certain amount of honored into the Nightfallen. So you'll definitely want to get as much of this reputation done as you can. This is one of the main ways to get reputation and unlock more quests and more quest chains in order to further your reputation even more. So definitely get these ones done. They are very important. Basically every day you want Suramar to be clear. So those are the world quests of the day. Next up, the Q&A. This one's pretty simple. Just send in questions via comments or on twitter.com/Tuskeh, and I will answer them. I've played World of Warcraft for a long time. If you've got a question, chances are, if I can't answer it, I'm gonna know someone who can, and I'll ask them for you. So for today, because this is the first episode, I will answer a couple of basic questions that I get asked on the channel a lot. First of all, my transmog for my Shaman is the Dark Shaman set, a Shaman-only set that you can get by defeating the Dark Shaman on non-LFR difficulty in the Siege of Orgrimmar. You have to be a Shaman, and it has a chance to appear as personal loot once they die. It's not guaranteed, but the drop rate I've noticed wasn't that bad. Over the course of Siege of Orgrimmar, when it was actually content and I was running it, I got a couple. Now, when I say I got 3, I mean you get a chest. You just get a chest that's full of the entire set. You don't need to grind it each week to get different pieces. If it does drop, you'll get the Korkron's Shaman treasure item, which you can open up, and it will contain every single piece of transmog gear, even braces and boots, even though it's a kilt. So yeah, that's how you get that set. I haven't tried soloing the Siege of Orgrimmar at 110, but if you're in decent gear and at level 110, you can probably do it. I don't know, I haven't tried. You can also find this Shaman set on the Black Market Auction House if you're both lucky and rich. Next up, my user interface. Now, I get asked a lot about this, like, what is it? What add-ons do I use? Can I download it? I actually had a couple of those videos out in Warlords of Draenor, but obviously since then my user interface has changed, and even now I'm working on it fairly heavily. It's a bit of a mess right now, especially on my Rogue, but it's my mess, and once I'm comfortable with how it's all been put together and how it looks, I'll share it in more detail. Maybe I'll even have a download link for you. But until then, I'm just changing it too much to make a video that's like, this is how I have everything set up, because it will be pretty much irrelevant in a week or so, because I would have changed at least one thing. I'm kind of like that with my UI, I just change it a lot. The final question of the day is, husband? Yes, husband. I'm gay and happily married in America. To end this, let's listen to a piece of music in the Opera House. I haven't done a lore nerd today. Those sections will kind of rotate in and out as we do different episodes to kind of spice it up and have a bit of variety. So, to end this episode of Tea Time with Tuskeh, let's listen to the cinematic music. This is called Azeroth's Last Hope, and it is absolutely badass. What I'm going to do is I'm going to overlay on the screen the Legion cinematic, but I'm going to just use the music so you can see how it kind of syncs and how it all looks without all of the sound effects or the voice acting. It's just the music here. It's amazing. I love it. The music in World of Warcraft is something that has only gotten better over time, and Legion has somehow, once again, created some amazing pieces of music, and I look forward to sharing it with you as we continue on through this series. So that will conclude this episode. If you have any questions for the show, any thoughts, comments, or suggestions, you can contact me using the links in the description, or you can just leave a comment. If you want to help support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon page in the description as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in the World of Warcraft.